Karma does not knock softly. Sometimes it arrives barefoot on a dusty road, begging for water. And when you refuse, that's where you discover who was really doing the begging. Zola was the most beautiful girl in the whole kingdom. She had shiny skin, expensive clothes, and more jewelry than anyone could count. But she had one big problem. She thought she was better than everyone else. "Look at me," she would say to her mirror every morning. "I'm perfect. Soon I'll be queen and everyone will have to bow to me." Today was a special day. The young king was choosing a wife, and Zola knew she would win. Why? Because she was rich, beautiful, and she believed she is absolutely perfect. Her servants dressed her in purple silk with gold thread. They put gold bracelets on her arms and gold earrings in her ears. They made her shine like the sun itself. "I'm going to be queen," Zola sang as her fancy carriage rolled toward the palace. The road to the palace was long and dusty. After riding for hours under the hot sun, Zola's carriage suddenly stopped. "Why are we stopping?" she shouted angrily. "There's someone on the road, my lady," her driver replied. Zola looked out and saw an old beggar sitting by the roadside. He wore torn, dirty clothes. A cloth covered his eyes. He was blind. He looked tired and sick. The driver went over to talk to him, then came back. "My lady, the poor man is asking if anyone has water to spare. He's very, very thirsty." Zola had 6 big pots of expensive water in her carriage. Water from the mountains that tasted sweet and clean. Water that cost more money than most people had. "Tell him to find his own water," Zola snapped. "But my lady, the nearest river is very far away. Maybe just 1 cup." "I said no." Then Zola got a terrible idea. An idea that seemed funny to her mean heart, but was actually very cruel. "Wait," she said with an evil smile. "Bring him here." The driver helped the blind beggar shuffle over to Zola's window. The poor man could barely walk. His lips were cracked from thirst. "Please," the beggar said in a rough, tired voice. "Just a little water. My throat burns." "You want water?" Zola asked sweetly. "Yes, please. May you be blessed for your kindness." Zola picked up one of her water pots. Everyone watched, thinking she was going to give him a drink. But she didn't. Instead, Zola poured all the water on the ground right in front of him. The water splashed in the dirt and soaked into the earth. The blind man could hear it, could probably smell it, but he couldn't drink any of it. "There's your water," Zola laughed cruelly. "The dead can drink it. At least the dead knows its place." Her servants gasped in shock. But Zola wasn't finished being mean. "Do you know who I am?" she shouted so everyone could hear. "I'm Zola. My father is the richest chief for miles around. Soon I'll be queen. And you're just a dirty beggar sitting in the dust." She leaned closer and whispered loudly, "A beggar like you should never even look at a queen like me." "Oh, wait, you can't look because you are blind. How lucky for you that you'll never see how much better I am than you." Then Zola laughed, a mean, ugly laugh, and told her driver to move on. As her carriage rolled away, the blind beggar stood very still. If Zola had been paying attention, she might have noticed something strange. His hands, though dirty, were smooth, not rough from hard work. He sat very straight, like someone important, and under that blindfold, he was smiling just a tiny bit. But Zola noticed nothing. She was too busy thinking about becoming queen. Behind her, the beggar stood up. He didn't shuffle or stumble anymore. He walked perfectly into the tall grass where 3 horses and 3 soldiers had been hiding and waiting. "Did you see what you needed to see, Your Majesty?" one soldier asked quietly. The man pulled off his blindfold, showing sharp, clever eyes. "Oh yes," said the king, because the beggar was really the king in disguise. When Zola finally reached the palace, her jaw dropped. It was the most beautiful building she'd ever seen. White walls, golden towers, silk banners waving in the wind, and gardens full of flowers everywhere. "This will all be mine," she whispered happily. Inside, 30 other girls waited to meet the king. They all hoped to be chosen as queen. But Zola wasn't worried. She wore the fanciest dress, she had the most gold, she was clearly the best. "None of you have a chance," she thought, looking at the other girls with a mean smirk. As the sun began to set, drums started beating. Everyone got quiet. "Make way for His Majesty King Jabari," a loud voice announced. All the girls bowed their heads, but Zola kept hers up just a little bit, wanting the king to see her beautiful face first. She heard footsteps coming closer, closer, and then she saw him. Zola's heart stopped. Her mouth fell open. Her eyes went wide with horror. No, it couldn't be. It was impossible. But there he was, the beggar from the road, walking in wearing robes of gold, a crown on his head, looking like a real king, because he was the real king. And he wasn't blind at all. His eyes were sharp and saw everything. And right now, they were looking straight at Zola. Zola felt like she was falling into a deep, dark hole. The king sat on his throne. Then he spoke in a voice that filled the whole room. "Before we begin, I have a story to tell you all. My father taught me that a true king must know people's hearts, not just their pretty faces or nice words. So before I became king, I dressed up as a blind beggar and sat on the road to this palace. I wanted to see who would be kind when they thought nobody important was watching." He stood up and walked toward the girls. "Many girls traveled that road today. Some gave me water right away. Some shared their food. Some sat and talked with me like I mattered. But one girl poured her water on the ground right in front of me. She wasted it while I was dying of thirst. And do you know what she said? The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. A beggar shouldn't look at a queen." Everyone gasped. All the other girls stepped away from Zola like she had a disease. "She told me I was just dirt and dust while I was silk and gold. She laughed at me. She seemed to enjoy being cruel." Tears poured down Zola's face, ruining her fancy makeup. "Do you remember me now?" the king asked. "Yes," Zola whispered, her voice shaking. "Louder," the king commanded. "Yes," Zola cried, "I remember." "Then tell everyone why you were so mean. Why did you waste water while someone was thirsty? Why did you laugh at someone suffering?" Zola opened her mouth, but no words came out. What could she say? That she thought he was nobody important? That would only make it worse. "I didn't know you were the king." "Exactly," the king interrupted. "You didn't know I was important, so you showed me who you really are. You were kind not because kindness is good, but because you thought I was nobody. Well, let me tell you something. Everyone is somebody. Everyone deserves kindness, whether they are king or a beggar." He called his guards. "Take off her gold jewelry. Take away her fancy dress. Give her plain clothes like servants wear. For 1 whole month," said the king, "Zola will sit at the palace gates in the hot sun, asking people for water and food. She will learn what it feels like to be ignored, to be treated like she doesn't matter, to need help from others. Maybe then she will understand what she did wrong."
Zola fell to her knees, crying, "Please, I'm sorry, I didn't mean—"
"You're sorry you got caught," the king said coldly. "If I really had been just a beggar, would you be sorry at all?" Zola didn't know what to say. She realized she probably wouldn't be sorry if there was no punishment, and that made her feel terrible inside. The guards led her out of the palace. As she left, she heard the king say to the other girls, "Now let me meet the girls who passed my test, the girls who were kind to a beggar, the girls who would make good queens." The doors closed behind her. Her dream of being queen was over. For the next month, Zola sat by the palace gates in the hot sun, wearing plain clothes, asking strangers for water. Most people walked right past her like she was invisible. Some even said mean things. It hurt so much. But some people were kind. An old grandmother gave her water even though she didn't have much. A little girl brought her a mango. A farmer shared his bread. And slowly, very slowly, Zola began to understand. She saw how tired servants were. She noticed how poor people often shared more than rich people. She learned everyone's names and stories, and she realized that everyone mattered, not just rich or beautiful people. On the last day, the king came to sit with her in the dust. "Have you learned anything?" he asked gently. Zola thought hard before answering. "I learned that I was empty inside. I had money and beauty, but no kindness. I filled up that emptiness with being mean and feeling better than others, but it never made me happy." She looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I learned that the most important thing isn't being pretty or rich. It's treating everyone like they matter, because they do." The king nodded and helped her stand up. "Your punishment is over. You can go home now. But remember this, the earth remembers what we give it. You poured water into the dirt instead of giving it to someone who needed it. You planted cruelty and grew shame. From now on, plant kindness. See what grows." Before he walked away, he added, "Oh, and I did choose a queen. Her name is Nia. When she saw me as a beggar, she gave me water and sat talking with me for an hour, treating me like I mattered. That's the kind of person who should wear a crown." Zola watched the sunset and made a promise to herself. From now on, she would be kind to everyone, whether they were important or not. Because everyone deserves kindness. Everyone deserves water when they are thirsty. Everyone deserves to be treated like they matter. And that's the truth. The lesson this story teaches us is that being kind when people are watching is easy. Being kind when nobody important is watching, that's when you show who you really are. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Thanks for watching. Please kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell to be notified once I drop a new story.